So the newest narrative about Birds of Prey is that it's actually succeeding outside of the box office. In fact, if you look at it currently on iTunes, it's in the #1 rental spot. The only problem with that is it had to drop down to 1/3 of the cost because you know what? No one is really buying. So hey there. So today, Thatumbrellaguy is bringing you a gift wrapped straight out of Hollywood. And I have to say, seeing them try to spin that Birds of Prey movie, oh man, it is definitely a gift. Now, two things that have been interesting to me about Birds of Prey are #1, the numbers that it brought in, and #2, how people are somehow trying to transpose those numbers onto current social situations. I mean, if you look at the numbers for what they were underwhelming at best. See, remember, before even looking at any numbers associated with this, you had a production budget of $82 million, and the advertisement that went along with it, it probably doubled that. You're also talking about a theatrical run of about 4.3 weeks average per theater, and this was a movie that had the expectations that it was going to do great. It opened up in over 4,000 theaters, and the numbers, they ended up being much, much less for the movie on the opening week, let alone its entire run. I mean, if you look at the domestic box office for it, you're talking $84,185,461. International box office, $114,015,221 for a worldwide box office of $198,173,682, aka it performed under $200 million worldwide. Even worse, if you look at the domestic box office numbers, this was a movie with expectations that it would do those type of numbers within the first week. And when you look at the way that it opened up, the way reviews came in, and the way that it plateaued and quickly, that says pretty bad things about a movie. Internationally, too. I mean, if you look at the places that it performed in or where it didn't perform in, that also tells you a story. Moreover, you have to remember that this wasn't just a sequel to 2016's Suicide Squad. This was a vehicle for its most popular character in a movie which made almost $750 million worldwide. That doesn't count in the home market performance either, where you see over $80 million more dollars made in estimated video sales. And again, this is a movie that had a production budget of $175 million. So when you double that, you not only made your money on the popularity mark, but the profitability scale, you more than saw profits on this. Moreover, this follows in the wake of 2019's Joker, which saw domestic alone $335 million. Internationally, it sees almost $740 million. Worldwide breaks over $1 billion. And this, it's on a budget of $55 million. So again, even doubling that, Now the thing is, though, this decided instead of going the Joker route, it decided to placate a certain audience. And well, we saw how well that worked out. It didn't work out well at all. So all that failure, all that lost, all of those missed opportunities need some type of spin. So enter this new type of headline wherein we see this going to the one spot on iTunes. But really, I mean, look at the way that it got there. So as the article starts out, they tell you it's hard to keep up. And that's true. It really is. Because you know what? This game, it is changing a lot with people not going to the theaters. I mean, just a few weeks ago, first-run movies started shifting into the $19.99 premium video on demand, with Trolls World Tour going so far as to choose a video on demand premiere. Another thing that these articles omit is the fact that video on demand, it was already in that testing phase. We were seeing a few movies that were popping up for $19.99 prices. Take The Joker, for example. I picked this movie up, before it had finished its its theatrical run. It hadn't come out yet. It was actually quite early, but still, you could buy it for $19.99, and yeah, I wanted to do that. It wasn't just the successful movies doing this either. You had movies like Terminator Dark Fate, a movie that was not only divisive when it came to critical appeal, but a movie that lost $130 million in the box office and needed to recoup some of that investment. It popped up weeks early. You saw this sell for $19.99, and interestingly, it set the formula for what you're seeing talked about for Birds of Prey, with the $6 price tag for rental, $19.99 for ownership. I want you to really think about the timeline with this as I read through this. Now, 2 weeks after Warner Brothers' title Birds of Prey debuted on video on demand, it's available for rent for $5.99, 2 months after its theatrical premiere. The company had initially allowed downloads as well as rentals for the premium price and said it would be a lower rental sometime in April, but unlike some other earlier releases, it was done after 2 weeks. So does that sound like something that you should be hyping as success? Absolutely not. What it sounds like is that you saw failure. You were looking down the barrel of it and you thought, man, how can I offload this thing and offload it quickly? Because I'll tell you, if people were paying $19.99 for something, you wouldn't see it lowered to $6 within a week. Oh no, absolutely not. Now they are going to spin this, and they're going to spin this heavily, saying, hey, look at exactly where Birds of Prey is setting. But before they do, they ask an interesting question, and I really got thinking about this quite a bit. They ask, is this an aberration or the new normal? It might just be one company's attempt to get a quick cash flow when other revenue is limited. However, it's also possible that we're watching the new rules evolve in real time. Now, I got thinking about that, and I thought, yeah, what's going to happen to the cinematic experience when people say, hey, I don't want to go out and expose myself to an invisible threat, and the limited time I'm going to have to wait, it's getting smaller and smaller. So do I really need that at all? Whatever the logic they say, it worked. And its new price, Birds, is #1 in iTunes today. That comes after the initial premium release at #2, then placing lower in the top 10 for 6 more days. Now, I hope you caught that too, because I thought it was slick the way they popped this in, the way they tried to basically overlook it. Birds is #1 today on iTunes. So when it's popping up today, it's #1. Now, when it first released at that initial premium release price, it was actually #2. But then, here's your real motivator for it. It placed lower in the top 10 for the next 6 days. So you're talking about releasing at #2, having this decrease, and then bam, we're up to #1 because we cut the price down to 1/3. Now, I think that says plenty. Now, they provide some more context with that, noting, quote, though the 90-day theatrical window in advance of home viewing is the rule, the reality is that most films in today's market hit premium video on demand only after 75 days. That usually includes digital downloads. That allows carriers and studios to dip into the niche market that's willing to wait to see new videos. So you're talking about $19.99. With that, although a few movies, they carry even higher numbers on that. Now, they note, too, that this is experimental and it could be playing with fire, and I agree. You never know exactly what's going to go on with this. Quote, it's more experimental than strategy, which makes the Birds move interesting. And it is an interesting move because we don't know how this is going to turn out, and it could really cause Universal and other folks down the road to have some real problems. The 3 Universal-owned titles that started the trend, The Invisible Man, The Hunt, and Emma, all were for download rental only initially. Other films since have varied policies, including early downloading. but Birds is the biggest title so far to switch to the lower price rental option this quickly and soon after its initial theatrical release. Now, perhaps the test here is older theatrical releases, though still under 90 days, are hitting regular prices more quickly, while more recent ones delay. If so, the studio may be playing with fire. In the past, not many jumped at the chance to pay the higher video-on-demand price. Viewing picked up when they became more affordable. But we are now in a period where many current offerings have truncated theatrical releases, which means maximizing returns is important along with overall cash flow. See, personally, I think that this brings up an interesting money-related question, aka how do you make back your investment? No theatrical engagement, and now they're telling us VOD at $19.99 doesn't sell, so just wait a week and we'll cut it down to 1/3 of the price. I mean, that doesn't just say, hey, look at who's number one right now. It says, how are you going to make back money? How are you going to make hundreds of millions of dollars? And that's nothing to celebrate at all. So yeah, Birds of Prey is number one in iTunes. Congratulations. Look what you had to do to get it there. You may have just helped burn down things and expedite them all the more. Congratulations. Anyway, you tell me what you think on it. So to close, I simply want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making this work. I definitely do appreciate it. I don't want to monopolize your time any further either, but I do want to thank you for it. And I do want to say, if you like this content, you want to help the channel out, subscribe, share videos, you know all of that drill. But yeah, I appreciate you being here. I hope you're doing great these days. And if you're not, reach out for help. That includes people like myself, for necessities like canned goods and on. I've been trying to help out people because, we're all in this together. But anyway, thank you again. I appreciate you. And until next time.